There's so much other crap you could be listening to, but you chose to listen to Mike Dell's World, and we appreciate it.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. In my case, it's 10 minutes to 4 in the morning, and I'm in the car. Just heading out for my lunch break and listening to Mike Thinks News there as I was working. I figured I'd leave the iPod at the desk and maybe talk a little bit here on the portable recorder. I didn't do a podcast this week on Monday, like I expected I would. The teenager's been on spring break and keeping things busy and lively around the house, so really didn't have any quiet time to sit down and do one. And a couple of things that I would love to talk about, but I'm not supposed to, so I'm not going to. When I've got the main thing I'm thinking about on the do not disclose list, makes it a little hard to find something else to talk about on the podcast. But that's alright. That'll soon be over, and I'll be able to discuss these parts and bits. Yeah, anyway. Nothing too earth-shattering, believe me, but interesting just the same. And, well, we haven't had any snow in almost a week, which is a good thing. Although what's coming out of the sky right now resembles, well, I would say it's hail that makes it almost to the ground and melts when it gets close to the ground, because you can see that it was semi-solid when it hits the windshield and then turns immediately liquid. So I guess they'd call that sleet, I guess. I don't know. We're supposed to have a little bit of the sloppy stuff for today. Today's Friday. Normally I would be doing a What's Up With That with Jim Farley in the morning, but Jim's going to be going into surgery tomorrow to replace his shoulder, which is, I guess we discussed that a little bit on last week's What's Up With That. And it's definitely not as what did I say? They don't have a success rate that they do with knee replacements, so wish him well. And if you want to wish him well, you can find his Twitter and contact information over at whatsuppodcast.com. And so hopefully that turns out good. I suspect I'll hear something at dinner tonight. I'm having dinner with Jim's brother, Keith, and friend John, who's my co-host on the Ham Radio Podcast. Oh, gas is down to $1.88. It was a little over $2 last week at this time. Of course, that was when I filled up. And since I don't drive all that much, I've only used about a half a tank since then. I do about 2 tanks a month on this car, and less on the pickup. Maybe 1 tank every month and a half on the pickup. Well, anyway, I'm going to go in and grab my stuff. I'll be right back. There. Got my stuff. Hopefully this microphone doesn't sound too bad and not too scratchy. But we'll see. Got me a donut. Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. health food, you know. I brown bag it to work, but I like to get away from the desk, drive around a little bit on my lunch break once gas is cheap. So I run up to this Speedway store and get my fountain pop and usually a donut, because it's about 4 in the morning when I do it, so the donuts just arrived from the donut place. So nice and fresh. You know, I shouldn't eat a donut. Wife wouldn't want me to be eating donuts, but oh well. Gotta have my vices, you know. Sitting there eating while I'm doing this, I shouldn't do that. It just makes for more editing. If I edit. Or even if I put this out. You never know. You know, some night I should drive out here to a casino. It's about 4 miles from work. Which, if I was quick about it, we could go out to the casino, play a few hands of blackjack, and come back. But I don't know. That would probably be counterproductive. Not much of a gambler, but every once in a while I like to do it. 4 in the morning, blackjack dealers might be a little more friendly. Who knows? I don't know if they even have the table games open. Might be just the slot machines. If that's the case, there's no sense in me going. I don't do slot machines. They're one of the worst things in the casino, as far as house advantage and whatnot. Blackjack's probably your best. Craps is fairly good. The last time I was out there was, 3 months ago. And did fairly okay on craps. Paid for our stay out there. We actually, for my birthday, Kathy, my wife, and my mom went in together to get us a night in the casino hotel there. It's a brand spanking new hotel casino that they just finished last fall. So really nice room. They had 42-inch flat screen TV in the room, and really slick setup. But hell, by the time we were done, Kathy and I had both won back what it cost them to send us there, plus a bit. So it was definitely worthwhile. It's kind of funny, the casino's in a little town called Williamsburg. And in between there is a little town called Acme. Well, Acme actually has one car dealer. And it's a Mercedes-Benz dealer. I quite figured that one out. Well, Traverse City, a much bigger city, right next door, has all the other car dealers. Well, most others. We don't have any of the high-end cars. Well, BMW, I guess, and Audi. I think that's about it for the fancy cars. You got the Ford and GM and what do you call it? Ford, Chevy, all the GM brands, all the Ford brands, all the Chrysler brands. Actually, there's not that many Chrysler brands anymore. Since they did away with Plymouth. And most of the foreign brands, we don't have stuff like Daewoo and Mitsubishi or anything like that. They got the normal Toyota, Nissan, Kia. That's the one that amazes me, Kia. And they don't seem like bad little vehicles. I rented one when I was in New York for training a few years ago. Up in Rochester. Rented a Kia Rio, just a little rinky-dinky little car, but all I needed it for was to get back and forth to class for a week. So I figured, why spend the money for something fancier? And it was okay, but those Kias, well, I remember last year the local Kia dealer had a deal if you bought a minivan from them. I think the minivan was fairly cheap, as far as minivans go. It was, under $25,000, if you call that cheap. But if you bought a minivan, they gave you a Kia Rio for free. Buy one, get one free. So that tells you what the Kia Rio is worth. Well, like I said, they're not bad cars, I guess. But they certainly go down in value really quick. A buddy of mine used to sell Chevrolets, brand new, at the Chevy dealer. Actually, it's the same dealership that sells the Kias. He was in the Chevy division, and he said, people would buy a Kia, and 6 months later they'd come back and want to trade it in on a Chevrolet. And of course, most people buy cars with car payments. And they would be so far upside down on these Kias because they drop so quickly in value that there was just no way they could get out of it for, what they still owed on the stupid thing. Of course, that's one of the reasons the car business isn't doing as good as it used to, as they push the financing and not the cars. Little known fact that a car dealership, say you got a big GM car dealership, they sell Chevys and maybe Buicks and whatever, and of course when they take in a trade, they have a trade in, they have a used car lot. They sell the used cars on the used lot. Well, the guys that sell the cars in the used car lot make more money per car than the new car salespeople. It just doesn't make sense. I used to think, if I ever won the lottery, or some rich great uncle that I don't even know passes away and leaves me a bunch of money, I always thought, wouldn't it be great go into a car dealership and make the deal for the car, say, how much is it, blah, 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 blah. And then when he starts talking about per month, you say, well, I'd like to do the 0%, 1 month payment, boom, and, just flop $25,000, $30,000 on his desk. But you know what? Most car dealers would kind of roll their eyes and say, all right, because they don't make nearly as much money. Now the salesmen do, but the salesmen, I think they make a pretty flat rate. They upsell, what do you call them? Extended warranties and things like that. But But for just a straight car purchase, I don't know as the individual salesman make more money or not if you do a credit deal, but the dealerships will definitely try to push you to do credit. But anyway, it was just interesting to me that the used car guys make better money because they get a percentage of profit on the car. So, let's say they bought the car for $15,000 and the dealership has $15,000 into it and you sell it for $16,000, you get a percentage of that $1,000 profit. Well, on the used cars, they the difference, you ever go to Kelley Blue Book and look up any random used car, you'll see the difference between wholesale and retail. They try to pay as close to wholesale as they can on trade-in, and then they try to sell it for as close to retail as possible. Well, the spread on that, they might make $1,000 a car selling new cars. They can make up to $3,000 and on a used car, and like I said, the salesman make a percentage of profit. So if they got a $3,000 spread on a used car and a $1,000 spread on a new car, you can see where they make their money. So I thought it was kind of weird. My buddy doesn't work there anymore, but it was kind of an interim job for him. But he started with no sales experience at all, and they put him into the new cars instead of the used cars. And all the guys that have been there for years are in the used cars. So I guess maybe the stereotypical used car salesman thing might apply. I don't know. But I try to buy things on cash now. I've done enough with car payments, and as I've probably discussed, to almost to an annoying amount, but I do believe that I'd much rather have old cars and pay a little bit of maintenance on them and do a little maintenance myself, which I'm capable of doing. It saves money. And like I said, even though this Toyota has 200 plus thousand miles on it, I know the car. I happen to have this one since new, so yes, I had payments on it, but the car has outlived its payments several times over now. But I know what's wrong with it. I know that I would have very little problem saying, okay, let's go to let's jump in the car and drive to Vegas. That's 1,800 miles, 2,000 miles away. No problem. Jump in the old Toyota and go. Whereas, if I had bought a new Kia 2 years ago, I still wouldn't be as confident, or maybe I would be just as confident, but that's it, with a 2-year-old Kia than I am with a 10-year-old, well, now 11-year-old Toyota with 200-something thousand miles on it. And the other part of that is this car owes me nothing. So if I drove to Vegas and on my way home the car breaks and say it's $1,000 to fix it, generally I'd probably just sell it to the mechanic, buy a plane ticket and come home. I'll go, buy another $1,000 beater or whatever. I might go a little more than that, but the car still looks halfway decent for it being in Michigan its whole life and driving through the slop, and there's very little rust. And, it's not a bad car. Same thing with my old pickup. Bought an old pickup, paid cash for it, and it does all the pickup truck things I need it to do. Yeah, sure, it's not going to win any truck shows. And I'm not going to, go pick up babes on the strip with it. But that's not what I got it for. I got it to haul gravel and brush and garbage, and when it's snowing really bad, it's got 4-wheel drive, so it gets me from A to B. And it's warm inside. So I'm totally happy with it that way. And we do have one nice vehicle, and it's 10 years old. That we use to haul the camper, and the wife drives that. But then again, it's 10 years old and it's paid for. But when it comes time to replace that, we'll buy an equally decent vehicle to replace it. But definitely not buying new, and hopefully paying cash. Anyway, how'd I get on that rant? Almost back to the office. The shop, I guess you'd call it. Anyway, my little mobile rant. Probably said that kind of stuff before, but oh well. Such is life. I wish I could talk about the two things I'd like to talk about. Maybe in a month or so I can... Well, one of them I could probably talk about soon, but the other one, you're just going to have to wait. But it's going to be cool. So, anyway, for now, that's it from the car. I'm going to go back in and get some more work done. And it's Friday. I'll probably play a tune here and then come back on the live mic to conclude this. And we'll put this out in place of What's Up With That for today. In fact, I might put it on both feeds. Hopefully not too many of you are listening to both feeds, so if you are, delete the other one. So I'll be back after this song and several hours have passed.
My monkey gets busy sometimes. My monkey's got a lot of stuff he's gotta think about. My monkey gets tired sometimes. My monkey wishes he was something you could live without. 'Cause every monkey needs alone time to eat bananas in the sunshine. It's feast or famine, it's a fine line. It doesn't mean my monkey doesn't love you. My monkey says he's sorry, he's a monkey, but he's gotta be loved. My monkey gets frazzled sometimes. My monkey has an ulcer and a stressful time at work. My monkey gets bitter sometimes. My monkey's not the only one who's acting like a jerk. And while he doesn't like to name names, and he's not trying to assign blame, it's hard to focus on his own game. It doesn't mean my monkey doesn't love you. My monkey says he's sorry, he's a monkey, but he's gotta be loved. My monkey gets angry sometimes. My monkey says a lot of things he doesn't really mean. My monkey gets lucky sometimes. My monkey thinks that you're the bestest girl he's ever seen. He says he'll stay with you for always. It doesn't matter what the job pays, 'cause everybody has their bad days. It doesn't mean my monkey doesn't love you. It doesn't mean my monkey doesn't love you.
Okay, well, I'm going to call this a podcast pretty quickly here. I'm back in the studio, and I'm using a new mixer. I'm not really sure if I have it all set up right or not, so excuse the lack of audio quality. But I'd just like to remind you to keep Jim in your thoughts, Jim Farley, who is my partner on the What's Up With That podcast, which I'll put this out on that feed, as I said before the song. And everybody have a good weekend. Hopefully it finds you healthy and happy. And this is Mike Dell for What's Up With That and Mike Dell's World, all at the same time. So how's that? 2 podcasts in 1, or 1 podcast in 2. I guess that's what it is. Hey, however it works. Catch you later.
Did you read this? Chicago just became the murder capital of America.
I don't understand. It's been a felony to have a gun since '95. I thought that was supposed to prevent murders, not increase them.
Criminals will always find a way to get guns, while the rest of us are just left defenseless.
Chicago authorities have seized over 75,000 firearms since 1995. And now, Chicago's murder rate is twice as high as New York City. Tonight, while you're asleep, criminals will be at work.
Not in Kennesaw, Georgia. In 1982, our city passed a law requiring every household to have a gun. It terrified the criminals, and our violent crime rate is now 75% below the national average. We sleep well here in Kennesaw.
Americans who own guns prevent over 1 million violent crimes every year and save lives. Get the facts. Visit armedandsecure.org. That's armedandsecure.org.
This podcast is part of the Blueberry Network. Find freshly picked podcasts just for you at blueberry.com. That's blueberry, no ease.com.